of the market. And experts believe that models of backward integration of supply chain management can be implemented in several sectors, namely oil and gas, agriculture, iron and steel, health, manufacturing, and in the media. The federal government says it is pursuing a comprehensive backward integration to revive and sustain the growth in these sectors where the country has comparative and competitive advantage, especially in mines and steel that can stimulate industrial revolution in the country. Another perspective to this is the evaluation of the effects of backward integration in rural development. What are the profitability outcomes that are most helpful to rural dwellers who constitute greater percentage of the entire population? What is the concept of contract farming, for instance, and can it be implemented to improve the supply chain procedure of raw materials? We will seek answers to these questions and bring you reports of the successes being recorded in very crucial areas as a result of backward integration strategy of federal government. My name is Kirian Umayo. It's indeed good to have you join us, and thank you for doing just that. And let's get to work. First, we'll bring you the news. The federal government has debunked the report being circulated on the social media of a bomb explosion at the South African High Commission, Abuja, on Saturday, calling the report fake news orchestrated to cause panic and chaos among the populace. A statement by a special assistant to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the video of the purported bomb explosion, which is being circulated on the social media, is that of the bomb explosion at Emma Plaza near Banex Plaza in Abuja on the June 25, 2014. For the minister, this is the handiwork of desperate politicians to discredit the present administration. The minister also recalls that a similar story was cooked up on Friday, 6th September 2019, where his appearance on Channels TV in January 2015, when he was the spokesman of the APC, to make it look like he was begging Nigerians to forgive President Buhari for not having a school certificate. The minister warned those behind the orchestrated fake news and disinformation campaign to stop forthwith or be made to face the music. As the world strives towards attaining global peace, some present and past African leaders have sued for unity among countries in order to avoid the tragic consequences of discrimination and hate. This was the submission by participants at a summit in Sao Tome. Dr. Oguyemi reports.
The Africa Summit, organized by the Universal Peace Federation, is an opportunity for African leaders to come together to deliberate on strategies that will enhance peace on the African continent. And this year, they are in Sao Tome and Principe, and 21 African leaders are gathered here to deliberate on how to enhance world peace, looking especially at the African continent.
To make meaningful progress, Africans must be encouraged to treat one another as brothers and sisters in love and unity.
Let's start together, please, as one family under God.
Speakers here believe peace is attainable not just in Africa, but across the world if universal values of tolerance, justice, equality, and godliness are championed by all.
If they really want to deal with peace, the issue of peace in the society, where to go to is the family, on the family level.
Founder of the Universal Peace Federation, Hak Jahan Moon, pointed out the need for families to embrace values that border on godliness and morality, noting that a united family translates to a united community. Participants were therefore enjoined to take the message of peace to their various countries, starting from their families. From Sao Tome and Principe, Dotun Ukuyemi, NTA News.
Institutional reform is top on the agenda of the ECOWAS chairman, Isufu Muhammadu, as he visits the Commission office in Abuja. Patricia Samiluba reports.
This is President Isufu Mahamadou's first working visit to the Commission's headquarters since his emergence as the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government at the 55th Ordinary Session on 29th June 2019. Then he is quick to declare his primary focus to actualize ECOWAS' objectives of improving the living conditions of the millions inhabitants of the region.
Among projects highlighted, if asked to mention one that I would really like to see significant progress, it will be the single currency, which is the roadmap that must have a precise timetable for implementation with strict deadline.
Jean-Claude Cassibrou, who shares the same view with Isufu Mahamadou, reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to ensure that mechanisms are put in place to respond to the challenges in the sub-region.
Terrorism, I just mentioned that it is a reality, it's one of the main challenges in our region. That's why, as I say, the head of state have decided to have an extraordinary summit in Burkina September 14. That will allow us to reaffirm our common commitment to deal with that collectively. It's very important.
It was unanimously agreed that the Commission will continue with ongoing projects while opening new ones to address various challenges of the region in accordance with the decisions of the summit and that of councils of ministers. In Abuja, Patricia A. Samiluba, NTA News.
Part of efforts to tackle insecurity in the country, the Ogun State government has procured and donated 100 security patrol vehicles, 200 motorcycles, and several security gadgets to the Nigerian Police Force. The Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, who received the vehicles and gadgets, has said he was happy with the recent progress and development in Ogun State in spite of challenges. Leko Abonde reports.
Crime, no doubt, is one of the major challenges that beset the ways of progress in any society. And Ogun State has had its own share, from armed robbery, kidnapping to other forms of criminality. The good news, however, is the fact that the State Police Command has been winning the war. The robust partnership between the police and the state government has been an effective antidote. It was therefore not surprising when the state government presented security vehicles and gadgets to further motivate the police fight crime in the state.
Existing businesses can only thrive in a secure environment. The purchase of these security vehicles and motorcycles and vans fitted with state-of-the-art gadgets is a clear demonstration of our commitment in that direction.
Receiving the vehicles and gadgets on behalf of the federal government, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, appreciated Ogun State government for the effort and assured that the gadgets would boost the morale of police officers to do more.
We'll charge them to make sure that they use it for the purpose for which it has been given to them, not for private use.
IGP had earlier visited the State Police Command headquarters in Elewero, where he informed the officers that the federal government plans to improve their welfare. He also disclosed that government had acquired body armor, which will be distributed soon to all police command for the protection of officers on duty. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Now, Kano State Police Command has paraded about 100 suspected kidnappers and armed robbers who have been terrorizing the state in the last 21 days. Lawal Salahu Inoa reports that the command also arrested 2 persons who specialize in forgery and cybercrime.
Suspects paraded include 17 armed robbers, 8 kidnappers who confess to be part of syndicates terrorizing communities and travelers along Tudungwada, Dogwa, Falgore Forest. The command also arrested 1 Munzeli, alleged to have killed 3 persons. Others paraded by the command include Hassan Idris and Abdurazak Ahmed, who specialized on result forgery, driver's license, tinted permit, and Nigerian Army identity card. Kano State Police Commissioner Ahmed Ilyasu said the command also recovered a lot of stolen items from the suspects, dangerous weapons, as well as illicit drugs.
Vandalizing the solar panels, as well as cutting away the batteries. Through violence, we've demobilized them and recovered 124 solar batteries.
He commended community leaders for their support advising other criminals to surrender or face the wrath of the law. From Kano, Lawal Sallau Inua, NTA News.
Operation Wellstroke says it has arrested 19 most deadly criminal syndicate terrorizing Benue and Nasarawa states. Commander of the operation, Major General Adeyemi Yekini, explained that among the gangs is one nicknamed Don Moji, an alleged principal supplier of arms and ammunition to Tawase Agwaza, popularly called Ghana. Charles Haba tells us more.
The 19 suspects were paraded for armed banditry, kidnapping and gang running. Major General Adeyemi Yekini disclosed that 10 of the alleged kidnappers are from Boko and 3 from Bishe in Benue State, while 2 are from Nasarawa State. He described the 4 others led by Don Moji, who were arrested from North Bank, Makudi, as notorious and deadly.
Not tolerate any act of criminality in Benue, Nasarawa and Taraba State. If you are still out there committing crimes, please watch your back. We are coming after you.
The commander further explained that Don Moji had confessed to have supplied 4 AK-47 rifles and 2,000 ammunition to the Ghana syndicate, among others he carried out during the 2019 general elections. Don Moji and his accomplices, who attested to the crime, however confessed that they have distanced themselves from Tewase Agwaza, alias Ghana.
And I have been in the business for so far before the amnesty program came in. I was working with one of my late boss that he died. That time he used to give me some ammunition to give people in the bush.
Major General Adeyemi Yekini assured the citizenry of crime reduction to the barest minimum and affirmed that the 4 suspects allegedly involved in gun running will be handed over to DSS, while the 15 others will be directed to the police for prosecution. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Now, the Federal Road Safety Corps is introducing the use of alkalizer on all drivers at various parks in the country in order to ensure compliance with the driving rule, which includes prevention of drinking while driving. The Corps Marshal Boboyo Eyemi made this known during the media briefing at the office in Abuja.
The period September to December is generally referred to as Ember Month, and typical of this period is high vehicular movement of people traveling to different parts of the country. It is also seen as a time when many road crashes occur. Rolling out strategies to ensure lesser or 0% crashes on the highways, the Federal Road Safety Corps says it will tackle head-on recklessness of commercial drivers by ensuring installation of speed limiting device in their vehicles.
What we are still battling with has to do with the violation of traffic lights and the use of forward driving. So, and we've compelled them to go for emotional psychological tests, but that is not enough until the amended act is fully enforced to ensure that the fines are a bit low, and we're already working towards ensuring the increase in respect of this so that it can serve as deterrence.
The enforcement of registration of number plates on tricycles and motorcycles as well on the front burner, in which defaulters will be arrested.
We need to deploy more technology, which the government is funding now. Patrol teams are not authorized to pursue a vehicle, and we've implemented this. If there's an infraction, just take the number of the vehicle with the CUG line, call the administrator, you get the details, you book them, and we send the ticket.
More mobile courts have been established to try road offenders at different strategic corridors in parts of the country. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force just has commenced a ground training safety seminar for men and officers of the command. The training is aimed at enhancing safety of personnel while handling sensitive equipment in workplace. Renette Silvana-Slot has the report.
The seminar is primarily to facilitate an unrestricted exchange of views and ideas by safety practitioners on enhancing safety practices, especially at the Nigerian Air Force offices and environment. Representing the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Standard Evaluation noted that skill and experience without safety measures may not accomplish much.
It is a well-known fact that human resource is the greatest factor in the man, machine, and environment triangle that characterizes Eagle's system.
This seminar is expected to support the Nigerian Air Force personnel in seeking realistic and lasting solutions to safety-related issues.
Participants said their views towards safety measures were changed and challenged to be more aware.
You need to put in place certain strategies which are smart. In the schools, we have to be very careful protecting the students, the children, and equally maintaining safety, even in our homes.
Participants cut across airmen and civil operators. In Jos, Rinred Silvanus Lot, NTA News.
Youth Empowerment for Social Support, a World Bank-funded program in collaboration with federal and state government, has registered 2,000 youth, poor and vulnerable households and about 20,000 IDPs in Yobe State to benefit from monthly stipend of 7,500 naira for the period of 3 years.
The $400 million worth Youth Empowerment and Social Support Operation, a World Bank-funded program in collaboration with federal and state governments, is operating in 19 states in Nigeria, with 6 local government areas benefiting in Yobe State.
The projects to be implemented include construction of classrooms and staff rooms, provision of furniture, drilling of boreholes, tube wells, and hand pumps, installation of transformers, and community housing, among others.
The program, with 3 years duration, was designed to fight poverty. As such, more than 2,000 youths, poor and vulnerable households, in addition to 20,000 internally displaced persons, have been captured, receiving 7,500 naira monthly stipend.
The commencement of implementation of YESO interventions is a culmination of series of events and processes on the part of the well-refined cream of committed staff of Yobe State Operation Coordinating Unit.
2 components were also added in the occasion, with dozens of youth, community representatives, groups and individuals receiving empowerment tools and checks of various amount, totaling more than 72 million naira. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
But to ensure adequate and efficient teaching and learning in public schools in Lagos, State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has assured residents that about 15,000 primary and secondary school teachers will be employed by the state government. The governor made this known while giving account of his 100 days in office in Alausa. Nosa Osula reports.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu enumerated projects and programs executed since he was sworn in as governor, maintaining that he was committed about the promises he made during the electioneering campaign.
In the recruitment for the teachers as well, I will ensure that a sizable number of the teachers recruitment too are for people with disability. Directly, we must ensure that we meet that quota in all of the things that we do.
On erratic power supply, Governor Sanwo-Olu stated that about 20,000 prepaid meters will be procured, while discussions are ongoing with the discos and the power firm on how to increase power supply through embedded power.
We're going to be coming up with a new policy on Okada riders. We realize that apart from people that don't obey traffic rules that causes a lot of accident, is also Okada riders that also causes a lot of accident. Right, so there are 2 levels to it. Once we can get our people to conform to the rules, right, it will reduce road traffic accident. And like I said, we're bringing a new policy on how we're going to operate Okada.
Governor Sanwo-Olu also revealed that his government will be leveraging on private sector partnership and funding to execute programs and projects, stating that partnership with the private sector is critical as it controls about 80% of the gross domestic product of Lagos State. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA, and tonight we are, of course, on the concluding part of our program on backward integration. Correspondence report next when we return from this break.
Bayes University is a fully licensed university operating since 2011 and has grown to have 32 accredited programs in 6 faculties. This includes computer and applied sciences, management and social sciences, engineering, environmental sciences, law, and basic medical sciences. The university also offers postgraduate programs and foundation courses in a conducive learning environment with modern teaching facilities and high-quality national and international staff. Bayes University graduates have either progressed into respectable career positions or have obtained postgraduate degrees from different parts of the world with distinctions. Call or visit www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng. Bayes University, Abuja. Learn to live.
Hey, you! And now you are to talk to. I sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person will then go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Ogalekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We sabi say Peking will crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Serie A and La Liga matches live. Go for GoTV Max.
As part of the federal government's annual budget preparation process and pursuant to provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is organizing a stakeholders public consultative forum on the 2020 to 2022 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, invite you to participate in the event scheduled as follows. Date, Tuesday 10th September 2019. Time, 9:30 a.m. prompt. Venue, Main Auditorium, Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning Complex, Abuja. Announcer, Ben Akabwese, Director General, Budget Office of the Federation.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
Hi, it's your girl Sandy. I'm in Switzerland right now.
You think you can have followers like this? You have to touch up now. Become small girl with big God.
When am I going? I've told you, I can't sleep with you.
My landlord.
King Kadeshan got no money.
Have you not stay before? We will never go. You had to stay before.
You borrowed the money?
Yes.
Which guy in his right senses will spend such amount of money?
Whatever. So what are we doing here?
Who is this man? I just...
Make me go out for here for straight road.
When my purpose resemble express road, now you are going to know say I don't try for inside this Lagos.
So you even speak pidgin? Oh, this? I'm just trying it. I didn't even know it was nice.
Hello, thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Weekend File. And now, in an ongoing drive to ensure the development of the nation's military-industrial complex, the Nigerian Army, in partnership with the Proforce manufacturing of vehicles and other military hardwares, in this report, Defense correspondent Ismail Musa examines the gains of the partnership.
Deaths relating to improvised explosive devices are among the leading potent causes of fatality in the ongoing counter-insurgency operation in northeast Nigeria. To counter this threat and to develop the nation's military-industrial complex with a view to attain self-reliance in hard and software production, the Nigerian Army is in partnership with Proforce to locally produce mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAP.
Everybody is concerned about the insecurity, but unfortunately over the years, since the 60s, we've not made any serious headway in local defense production.
The collaboration has proven to be potent in reducing capital flight, provided about 20,000 employment, and ensures timely supply of customized combat vehicles to the armed forces.
MRAP vehicles offer increased firepower, enhanced force protection against small arms, as well as improved lift capability.
This MRAP, with internationally certified ballistic raw materials and reinforced suspension system suitable for most rugged terrain in the Northeast, is a result of the partnership.
Proforce produces close to about 300 MRAPs in a year, produce close to about 500 APCs in a year, armored personnel carriers in a year. And all these things are not things that are assembled. They are basically designs produced by Proforce. The dependence of Proforce on the Army of foreign vehicles is reduced, completely reduced.
Based on this partnership and other related collaborations, the Nigerian Army has commenced the manufacturing of different light combat vehicles at the Nigerian Army Vehicle Manufacturing Company, Kaduna. This is the skeleton of a tactical infantry patrol vehicle under construction. It has also developed a special demanding device which is expected to be deployed to the theater in the Northeast. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The federal government is to open the largest liquefied petroleum gas LPG storage and dispensing facility in Olobo community near Benin City, Edo State. It is an extension of an integrated gas handling facility plant to fast-track the consumption and boost domestic gas supply of the product popularly known as cooking gas. Ogochukwu Kona beams searchlight on this project and highlights the gains therein.
Natural gas reserves cater to most of the world's natural gas needs. Demand is high, and by 2035, it might be almost double at what it stands today. This means more pressure on the top 11 countries with the highest gas reserves in the world to meet demands. Now, Nigeria happens to be one of these countries. With gas reserves estimated at 200.79 trillion standard cubic feet, the country is moving a step ahead with the setting up of the largest liquefied petroleum gas and propane storage facility in Edo. The projection is that at the end of 2019, NNPC, which is the single largest supplier of gas to the domestic markets, with about 90% of gas supply targeted at power generation, will be producing 40% of the country's LPG consumption requirements. The facility will have the capacity to dispense 330 tons of LPG and about 300 tons of propane daily.
With 16 trailer load of gas, 300 metric tons a day, scarcity of gas will be a thing of the past, 100 metric tons in a year, and that one will definitely assist Edo State, assist income.
It would be a huge stream of income for the federal government, among other positives.
In the long run, there will be gainful employment, which by extension will narrow down the joblessness and the vices that are prevalent in the society. Not only that, the raw materials here will be properly harnessed, and the factory will have developed the area where it will be sited, because there will be lateral effects.
If there is an establishment of this very big project in Edo State, it will boost the economy. It will make us to be happy.
It will bring reliefs, to the youth themselves, to their parents, even to the states.
The project is in partnership with NNPC's Upstream Exploration and Production subsidiary in Benin. Ogochkuka Ona, NT News.
The industrialization policy of the Cross River State government, with the Ayade Industrial Park serving as a strategy for backward integration, the noodles factory, popularly known as Calavita, will benefit from the rice city, which will provide raw materials for the factory. From Calabar, Paul Abel reports that the noodles factory is expected to bring a paradigm shift in the noodles market when operational.
The state-owned Calavita Noodles factory, currently under construction, with most of the equipment installed, will make use of freshly homegrown rice as raw materials instead of wheat. Apart from the enormous employment it will provide for skilled and semi-skilled workers, generate income for the state, reduce cost of production, and ease of difficulties associated with the acquisition of raw materials, Calavita Noodles will also provide alternatives for consumers. The noodles is expected to come in rice, chicken, and suya flavors. With NAFDAC expected to certify and license the company after final inspection, Governor Ben Ayade expressed his excitement that food technology is being able to tackle food security, while promising that the project will also provide a base for the market of federal government school feeding program.
It is licensed to produce a minute-to-go rice, and I'm very happy that the Cross Riverians can truly see that industrialization is real. This is one factory in the next 2 months will be up and running in the market. That we also have some additives that allow young people to eat and grow much better, faster, and a higher retentive capacity of the intellect.
A factory like this that will get a lot of raw materials, it will encourage our farmers to go into local production. And by that, it will increase the production of it because the market will be there readily available for them to sell off their products.
In terms of employment, that not less than 1,000 people can be employed in that place, in direct production.
In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
All right, you're still watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. Now, our guest tonight, Jury Ngelale, is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs. And tonight we'll be giving us a further perspectives to the federal government's backward integration policy. And that will be after the break.
Hey, you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in day your mind, Abi. The person with them go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Oganekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We sabi say Peking go crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Syria and La Liga matches live. Go for Go TV Max.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Please, did you hear that?
Of course I did. That is Village El Master tune.
So, Auntie Amebo was not gossiping then?
Village El Master is celebrating 50 years.
50? Already? This is not a joke.
It is a national celebration. NTA and Village El Master family are commemorating 50 years.
Hey, please, tell me, when is our Golden Jubilee?
It is from the 8th to 11th of October, 2019.
I have to go and get ready. It's time to party.
Women. But we, men, will be there too.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol.
It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
All right, now we formally welcome Nigerian Galale, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, who happens to be our guest on this edition of Weekend File. Ajuri, it's good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Now, look, there are models of integration that have been applied by several governments across the globe to fast-track economic development. What, in your opinion, could be the reasons, why Nigerian government has decided to take on backward integration as a strategy to reawaken, or re-energize our economic landscape?
A very important question, and I thank you for it. First of all, Mr. President, in his wisdom, looked at the economic structure of the country and realized, of course, that we have been for decades now been over dependent on oil revenues. Obviously, the oil and gas sector is well known to be low in terms of labor intensity and high in terms of capital intensity. And he has looked at some other sectors where you can do much more with less, where it's labor intensive and less capital intensive. Identified are, of course, agriculture, solid minerals, CTG, cotton, textiles, and garments, etc. So to your question about backward integration, looking at the entire economic landscape, the question on the president's mind really was, if in any economic policy that we're formulating, ultimately it's not going to be what we need it to be if Nigerians are not employed. We need to get jobs created, not just in the urban centers, not just for those who are well educated, but deep down in the nooks and crannies of this country in the rural communities. And so as a fallout of that concept, the federal government of Nigeria has adopted backward integration as a policy. And what that is essentially is to say that whatever it is that we are producing in this country, every component of the value chain, from the first raw inputs to the final processing and export, must be made in Nigeria, developed and created by Nigerians across sectors. Therefore, we're creating jobs. Therefore, we're stopping imports, obviously the huge billions of dollars worth of imports across sectors. And of course, we're earning foreign exchange in the billions of dollars by exporting to other countries. So that's the basic framework, and then we can get into the specifics.
Yeah, now talking about specifics, you rightly mentioned rural development, which of course is part of any other backward integration policy of a government. And now, how can the policy, trickle down to that level? Of course, that's where we have the larger population of this country. In what sense, can Nigerians understand the processes that could lead to rural development using backward integration?
Okay, well, first of all, you look at even the smaller programs of the federal government, just like the social investment program comes to my mind, on a very small scale, right? You have the homegrown school feeding program, we're feeding 9.8 million children. Now, within that, we could have used imported ingredients like many previous administrations had done or in different countries of the world to feed our school children. What we instead did is we said every ingredient, every input must come from local farmers with our own yields supplying the program, so that you're giving an increased market to the farmers. We're also employing, for example, the cooks that make the food. Obviously, these are all Nigerians, the entire process. So you have 300,000 jobs sustainably created in the homegrown school feeding program alone. That's just on a small scale. On a larger scale, which of course is what Nigerians will be interested in this evening, we're looking at now agriculture. Obviously, in the first term, laying the foundation with the Anchor Borrowers program, getting low interest capital into the hands of farmers so that they can buy the supplements they need. Now we're going into mechanization, right? So instead of doing going through agricultural production processes that are traditional, that are more manual, we're now going digital, as it were. We're going to mechanize. Now, we have some agreements in place already with a significant Chinese group of elite businessmen who are going to bring in between $60 billion and $25 billion by 2023 to establish 10 agro-industrial hubs in this country. Those 10 agro-industrial hubs will include 780 service centers. Of course, we have 774 local governments. That is going to involve 148 centers for raw goods processing to ensure that we are now adding the value to the raw goods so that we are now processing and sending out for exports. And then 632 to complete the 780 centers will be for mechanization, mechanical centers for maintenance of new tractors and tractors that we're going to be constructing in this country. That alone is going to create between 5 and 6 million jobs by 2023. Another area we're looking at is cotton, textiles, and garments. As you may recall, Kirian, in the 1980s, that sector was the second largest employer of labor in this nation. Over the course of the last 20 years, we've seen our textile factories close. We've seen cotton farmers essentially say, look, we don't have a market anymore. We don't have any off-taking factories. Therefore, we're going to have to close up and maybe go into cashew production or go into something else where we can feed our families. Now, what the president has done is he's taken a series of measures. Because there is high employment potential within CTG, the federal government has now slashed the price of industrial gas supply to textile factories by 50%. It used to be approximately almost $8 per 1,000 cubic feet. Now we're looking at about $4 per 1,000 cubic feet. That's one measure. The second measure he's taken is he has, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, supplied 45,000 metric tons of new cotton seedlings to cotton farmers to ensure that we get the kind of yields that can supply our factories effectively so that we don't have to be looking abroad for raw cotton. Then, on top of that, he has issued a directive through the Bureau of Public Procurement that essentially mandates every ministry, department, and agency in this country to immediately stop the importation of uniforms, any textiles and garments that we're importing, whether it's public hospitals, whether it's the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, etc. Those are now banned. So we are going to now sign contracts with only Nigerian CTG manufacturers and factories, and we're also going to ensure that they only are supplied by Nigerian cotton farmers. That is expected to increase our job availability by about 2 million jobs by 2023.
Great. Thank you indeed. Now, talking about foreign direct investment, you started with that when you talked about Chinese consortium, coming down here to establish agricultural hubs. Now, what about capacity building for our own people? How would Nigerians grow in all of this? Currently, we know that about 60 Nigerian engineers are undergoing training in China in the manufacturing of transformers, and of course in the reading of voltage, high voltage laboratory services. So that is ongoing at the moment. That is part of a capacity building. But in other spheres, in other areas, how is the backward integration policy looking at ensuring that Nigeria Nigerians get capacitated in several areas?
Very important question again. Look, we have two very critical executive orders that have been signed into effect under President Muhammadu Buhari's watch. Of course, there's Executive Order 3, which essentially is protecting the presence of local content in our markets. That Executive Order 3 also establishes local patronage, the patronage of local content monitoring and evaluation, which essentially sets up a series of units across MDAs to ensure that a certain percentage of every business that is patronized by our MDAs in the provision of services to the country are Nigerian with full backward integration. Executive Order number 5 is an executive order dealing specifically with local content on science and engineering. That has to do with the high value kinds of opportunities that exist within the construction sector, within the services sector, to ensure that before, where we would have had maybe German companies, for example, doing our roads and employing maybe, let's just throw out a number, 60% maybe German workers on the roads. Now we have a mandate that says instead of all of these German workers or Chinese workers, the workers must be Nigerians who will live here, who will pay taxes here. These are some of the measures that have been put in place institutionally to ensure that that is protected.
All right, good. I want to pick this scenario for you. Are you satisfied, with the situation where several brands of automobile products, are sold in this or imported into this country for so many decades without the manufacturers of such brands having manufacturing plants or even assembly plants in the country? And of course, Nigeria has been wooing some car manufacturing companies to come and established in Nigeria. Should there be a policy to that effect? Because wooing them to come may not be enough if backward integration is anything to go by. What would be your own opinion in that regard?
Well, Kirian, to be honest, there's so much going on in this country right now that our people simply don't know about. I'll just give you an example. Manufacturing and auto manufacturing in particular is an area where we've already seen progress. In 2016, Toyota, a well-known international brand, opened up an assembly plant in Lagos. We have highest buses being assembled here, different cars being assembled here. We've also encouraged some Chinese automakers to set up shop here, which they've already done. They're already producing their vehicles locally. Of course, the Buhari administration has already been very adamant about ensuring that Innocent Motors continues to be one of the most patronized vehicle contractors to federal agencies. If you go to immigration, for example, Nigerian Immigration Service, you're going to see a lot of innocent vehicles, just for an example. So in terms of auto, we've already seen an influx of cars. In fact, we already have an MOU on the ground that has been signed with Volkswagen, the German car manufacturer, and that's going to be coming on stream within the next few years as well. But to the larger point about backward integration, I just want to emphasize that when we see numbers on a spreadsheet from the Central Bank of Nigeria, those numbers just aren't just numbers on a page. These are Nigerians that are having jobs for the first time, sometimes in decades. Sometimes people have been out since they left school, 15 years without a job, and they're finally getting a job working in some of these new factories coming in. I'll give you some examples, Kirian. If you look at glass, for example, a Chinese company named Rongsheng has moved into Edo State now in partnership with the Edo State government, has built a multi-billion naira glass processing firm, just one out of a few. We've been constructing and importing all this glass when we've had the capacity to do this, but now it's happening because of the federal government's stance on backward integration and making sure that we maximize job creation opportunities. The same thing is happening in dairy. If you look at what's going on in Ekiti State, where very recently there's the dairy farm Ikun that was established by the Shigari government in 1980. It has essentially been moribund since then. Nothing has happened. It's just rotted away. Now, all of a sudden, Governor Fayemi has brought in Promasidor, which are the makers of cowbell milk products that we see, the sachets. They've agreed to essentially revive Ikun Dairy Farm and ensure that all their supplies are coming from that farm where Nigerians are going to take over the farm and be employed. You see that even with Friesland Campina, the makers of peak milk. Yeah. They've signed an MOU with the federal government of Nigeria to revolutionize the entire dairy manufacturing process in the country, away from the antiquated kind of manual system into a modern dairy production system as part of efforts like the NLTP, the National Livestock Transformation Program.
Now, talk to us about Iron on Steel with a joke with that in mind. Well, what is the situation at the moment?
Well, there's obviously litigation around that. We want to get to a point where we're not just assembling cars in Nigeria. We want to get to a point where from the production of the steel to the assembly of the cars to even the leather within the cars, the technology within the cars are done locally. But unfortunately, we have to battle with issues around previous concessions, litigation arising therefrom, and so that's been a limiting factor.
All right. Ajuri Ngelale, it's been nice talking to you this evening on Weekend File. We've just been educated on some of the factors that have been brought into play with respect to backward integration policy of the federal government. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Well, I just wish we had more time.
Oh, of course.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And it's always difficult for you to interview one of you, I think it's maybe. Ajuri Ngelale is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs. Well, it's just wonderful. So congratulations on your new appointment.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, verified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Nigerians charged the Tigers to beat China in the classification round of FIBA Men's World Cup and qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Olumide Eguntola has this and more on our sports update.
Having won the first qualification match against Cote d'Ivoire, the Tigers are the last hurdle to cross by beating China in their second match on Sunday to win the Olympic ticket, as Nigerians expressed optimism on the team's victory over the Chinese.
They should continue in that light that they've taken up so far. And I think China will be an easy peasy for them.
If Iran can come out tops from that particular group, then the Tigers, if they defeat China, would be in Tokyo 2020.
Lagos State government has created a pathway to greatness for children in Lagos with the conclusion of the first edition of Lagos Sports Summer Camp. The children were taught the basics of various sports and vocational skills.
Going to make Lagos the sporting hub of Africa.
It's not too big to start teaching them about the future.
Similarly, the 2019 Olumide Oyedeji basketball camp for beginners with emphasis on discovering basketball stars at their tender age has been concluded in Lagos.
After 20 years, you've seen a lot of people have over 45,000 youth that pass through this all over the world.
All is now set for the 16th edition of the Research Institute Games Association of Nigeria, RIGAN, scheduled for the 13th of December 2019 at the National Laboratory Complex of the Nigeria Building and Road Research Institute. The RIGAN Games are from about 35 research institutes with over 2,500 contingents that will compete in various sports.
NIBRI is up to the task, and they are working hard to ensure that they host the best RIGAN Games.
The idea is to produce people that will be sound at work,
and then create collaboration among staff, friendship.
And in tennis, Rafael Nadal reached his 5th US Open final and 3rd Grand Slam final of the year when he defeated Italian Matteo Berrettini 7-6, 6-4, 6-1 in the second semi-final match decided Friday night. He takes on Daniel Medvedev in Sunday's final. With sports update, Olumide Gutola, NT News.
Now let's take a look at weather picture for Sunday. Well, and that's our program for today. We thank you for watching. Let's see you again on Saturday.